Welcome to Brand Lover, honest, real, and lively conversations for flourishing entrepreneurs and budding business owners on a mission to cultivate a heartfelt brand that connects with their purpose-driven mission. My hope is that you walk away feeling inspired and refreshed with a weekly takeaway in your back pocket that you can apply to your life or business. A huge, heartfelt, warm, lovely, huggy welcome to my friend and client and member and all these things, Simone Pavils, SEO and Pinterest expert. I'm just so excited to nerd out about Pinterest. But first, welcome, Simone.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am so happy to finally be here.
Yes, it's an absolute pleasure to have you because, oh my gosh, it's taken a lot to get here. So I'm glad we're finally connecting, recording the podcast. And yeah, we're here. We made it. So tell us, I know that I have labeled you as SEO and Pinterest expert. There's so much more to you. So tell us a little bit about Simone.
Sure. So yes, I am a Pinterest and SEO expert. I call myself a traffic strategist to cover all things traffic. But I'm also a mum. I'm also a wife of a fly-in, fly-out worker, and I'm also, in addition to being a business owner, I'm also a registered nurse as well.
That's a lot. There's a lot going on for you.
I like to keep busy.
Yeah, I guess you would. And I'm sure that it takes a lot of productivity and organizational skills as well, which we can explore a little bit later. But first, I'd just like to head back to when you and I met. And I don't even remember how that was, if it was in real life at an event. I don't know. We're both in Adelaide. So I don't know. I feel like I've known you forever. But when we met, you were a virtual assistant.
I was.
So, what made you decide to change and really niche into that SEO and Pinterest or traffic services?
Yeah, so you're right. When we first met, it was actually online, and I had heard about you through at the time SA Mums in Business, and then we met in person at the very first event I went to. I was very nervous at the SA Mums in Business. I think it was like a Christmas or end of year type event. And so that's when we first met. But I often tell the story about, being a registered nurse, particularly in an emergency. So, in acute care.
Yeah.
You don't get like this sense of completeness or this sense of resolution, because the people that you are looking after, they're often, you fix their acute issues or their issues that are really urgent at the time.
Yeah.
And then you send them off either to a ward to be fixed further, or you send them off home with their issue kind of band-aided for their GP to follow up. Because in the ED, we're fixing acute issues that are urgent and that need to be fixed urgently, and then we're handing care over to someone else. And so I never got this sense of feeling of completeness. And so I was looking back to a time in my life that I did get that feeling, and it was when I was working in admin before I was a nurse. And so I looked into virtual assistants, thought it's a great sort of thing to do on the side, and started doing that. And very quickly I niched down into Pinterest, because I started seeing very, very quickly in the groups I was in the Facebook groups and the communities I was involved in, that people were asking about Pinterest. And I liked Pinterest. I've been using it for a long time on a personal level. And so I knew the platform. I thought, what a great, place to get into. And there really wasn't a lot of people in Australia that were sort of, Pinterest experts.
Yeah.
There still aren't, it's not as big as in the US.
Yeah.
And so very quickly fell into that and realized that Pinterest is a search engine. It's driven by SEO, which I really loved. I was that person that everyone came to and said, I can't find this on Google. What should I search for? And I was like, try this, So I was always kind of that detective type person, and very naturally then went into SEO from there.
Well, it all sounds very strategic and clever. It also sounds like you really followed your intuition.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think definitely feel I've fallen into the right place.
Yeah. So, obviously that sort of happened, and then there came a point where you had to lean into this and tweak your messaging and you know, establish yourself as an expert, as we are taught to do, encouraged to do. I don't know how to phrase that any other way. But how did you go about establishing and increasing your reputation in this area?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, a fun fact, when I met you, I told you about the colors that I was using, and at the time it was my favorite color.
Oh.
I remember you said to me, it's not about your favorite color, it's about the client, like what is attracting the client. And so the very first step for me in establishing myself and you know, drawing in my ideal client was rebranding, and you know, going from my virtual assistant name that I had, my business name, and changing into my own name. And actually working with Kate Toon, doing the Recipe for SEO Success course. You know, it was really, we spoke about what I should select for my business name, and it was really about personal branding and going forward with my own business name, my own name as my business name. And so, you know, that was really the start of that journey. Chatting to you, you know, doing all of my branding with you, I really think set me apart from the very beginning, you know. So I don't regret. I think that was absolutely a really important step in my journey. And then I just started talking. I just started, you know, sharing my knowledge, popping into groups, learning, always learning. I'm constantly still learning. I think you're never completely an expert. You're always a learner, and I'm going to continue to learn for the rest of my life. Everything changes so rapidly as well in business and in marketing. So you need to constantly learn. So that's what I did. I just kept, I lent into learning, and I lent into sharing my knowledge and being open, and not being afraid of anyone else that's in the same industry as me, supporting those people, in fact, that were in the same industry as me, because you know, we could support each other. And there's so many people in the world. There is, of course, as people say, enough people for the whole, for all of us, you know, the whole world. There's a lot of people for us. So that was for me, I think, really part of how I then started becoming this voice and this authority in both Pinterest and now in SEO as well. So I think definitely for me, it was about community. It was about networking. It was about being willing to share and being open, and not being afraid of giving away too much or any of that, you know, that sort of stuff.
And that's something that I really do admire about you, Simone. Like, I've worked with Simone recently to establish my Pinterest account, which I had been putting off forever, and I'm so glad I did it. And genuinely, just the amount that you shared and you're willing to share, and just your generosity in that is really, it is an admirable trait. Because I know that a lot of coaches to teach to not give away like your best tips and content, you know, for free. But you're just like, you're an open book. And I'm not saying that you do give all your best tips and everything, but you know, you do come across as a really generous soul, and you're really awesome at like I've seen you collaborating so much recently. And I just wanted to really highlight that, because you're doing business your way and what feels good for your personality. And I just think that deserves acknowledging and applause. And it also, like, it opens a way for other people, like other women in business who feel that way, to just be themselves. Like, it's so genuine, and it really makes your brand come across as authentic, which is amazing. So
thank you. Yeah,
well
I'm a big believer in the fact that you know, even if I share my knowledge, there's still going to be people who need help to implement it, or to you know, to get, you know, just to get support. And so it doesn't matter what knowledge you know, the stuff I'm sharing, like, let's be honest, you can do a course, you can, you know, find it yourself anyway. So it's not, the things I'm sharing are not big secrets. And it's just that I've gone and done the research, and I've gone and done the learning and the courses and stuff, so that other people don't have to. So I think that's the thing, like, not being afraid of the fact that by giving a little bit of, you know, sharing some knowledge, it's not going to result in you losing clients. Actually, it potentially results in you gaining more.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. So I just would love to steer the conversation onto more of a personal exploration, I suppose. So as we know now, you balance nursing and you work from home and you're a mum and you are a FIFO wife. So how does that look? Like, I'd just love to get a snapshot of what your weeks are like and how, you know, how that looks, and if that's a conscious decision to keep one foot in nursing and one foot in business.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people say to me, how do you do it? But I just think I like, it's not that it's not that hard, because it certainly is a juggle, but for us, it just really works. And so, you know, my husband has been a fly in, fly out worker for coming on to 8 years now. So, you know, a long time. But, you know, he's home for 2 whole weeks every, you know, of a month. So he's away for 2 whole weeks and then he's home for 2 whole weeks. And for us, that means for 2 whole weeks, I don't need to worry about childcare. It means that he's able to be at school events and sports day. Yes, he does miss some things, but he gets to be at a lot of things. You know, we get to go on lunch dates and food shopping together, just the simple things even as well. So we've many times rethought, you know, should we go back to working in the city, or should he go back to working in the city? And we've brought the kids into that decision as well, and decided that no, like, it is the best for us to have it this way. But it certainly takes a lot of planning, a lot of systems. And in my business, I do have a lot of systems, you know. From a very early stage, I had Airly, goodness, I can't remember her business name, set up my ClickUp. Ellie Widely set up my ClickUp. So that's obviously a project management system. We also use it as a CRM as well. And it's just amazing. And so, you know, all of our forms are embedded in there. It does so much for us. And it really means that a lot of my business systems are hands off. And, you know, when a client inquires on my website, they select an option, they get sent an email based on that option, they're able to book into a call straight away, they get the Zoom link straight away. So, and it goes straight into my calendar. So in that aspect, you know, that has been a really big relief. I have a team of a number of people, which obviously is very helpful as well. We communicate via Slack. We also use Airtable, we use Google Suite. There's just so much behind the scenes in terms of our systems set up. You know, our email marketing, all of this is very much automated. And I couldn't have done that, you know, without my team behind me. And that has made my life more manageable. In regards to nursing, you know, I'm passionate about nursing. I love nursing. I've thought lots of times about leaving it. But I just can't. I'm not ready. I am really passionate and about helping people in that way. And, you know, I'm empathetic, and I just really need that input in my life. And so I'm not quite ready yet to give it up. I don't know if I'll ever be ready. I can't think of a time just yet. But I just work the minimum amount, which is 4 days a fortnight or 2 days a week. So very manageable. It means that, you know, I get to sort of go to work, do my job, get my, you know, help people, get my fulfillment in that way, fill my cup that way as well, and empty it sometimes. And then come home and be a mum and everything else I need to be. But I just think it really comes down to some organization, you know, Excel spreadsheets, like calendar, you know, my Google Calendar is color coded. Just comes down to a lot of organization, and I'm not perfect. I certainly forget things. I've sent my kids to school with lunch orders on days that they have excursions, and, you know, forgot to send with bathers and all sorts of stuff, you know. So just this morning, I forgot to wax my son's hair, and he had a big assembly. So I had to quickly go to the local hairdresser and buy some wax to fix his hair. So, you know, there are certainly times but I do the best I can. And some days we're late, and I say to the kids, you know what? Yes, we're late, but at least we're at school. So I think it comes down to expectations, setting expectations and not having such high expectations of yourself as well.
Yeah, we're all human.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think just on that lateness scenario, I mean, when my little ones were very, very little and I was trying to get my big girl to school, we would often be up to half an hour late. And I just got to the point where I was like, whatever,
Yeah.
we'll get there when we get there. And it just like dissipates the whole stress of the house.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
We're already late. There's nothing we can do about it. Anyway, I just wanted
Yeah.
to share that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But also, you know, the fact that you are so multifaceted and exploring different passions, and you know that these things are just part of your being and your overall purpose, they're all sort of, you know, just small parts that make up who Simone is. Like, I think that's so, like, it's such a beautiful thing, and it's really inspiring because you're giving other women permission to explore different things rather than being like, okay, if you start a business, you have to be all in on that business and grow it to a certain point, and you have to do this, blah, 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 blah. Or you have to be a career woman. If you're going to be a career woman, you know, you shouldn't have a side hustle because it's going to, you know, like there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of should and shouldn'ts in this world. And I just love that you are just doing you and it works for you and your family. So yeah.
I'm very lucky that my husband is so supportive. You know,
Yeah.
I come up with a new idea all the time, you know.
Yeah.
What about cybersecurity? I might look into cybersecurity. Like, you know, I could do a grad certificate. He's like, okay.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
so, you know, he's very supportive in that way. And he's just like, sure, why not
Yeah.
another thing? Like if I said to him, I could do a wine degree, like, you know, he would be like, sure, like, you know, so he's certainly supportive in that way.
Yeah, my husband's a little bit the same, but he's more like, yes, dear.
Yeah.
Yes, sure, do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's like sort of explore some personal development, because I know that I just noticed recently that you shared a post about the fact that you had been working on your public speaking abilities or
Mhm.
confidence really around that area. So like here we are recording a podcast, and you've been an amazing guest expert inside my membership, the Branding Hub. And I noticed that you've also been doing some other master classes lately as well. And just like silently cheering you on. But what made you decide to go all in on overcoming this fear? And how have you gone about it?
You know, it started with Clubhouse, amazingly. Like, so,
Right.
which was sort of, I think it was beginning of last year, maybe
Yeah.
the Clubhouse
Yeah.
phase.
We're
But
during the
you know,
Clubhouse era.
yeah, Clubhouse era. So you know, I have had a fear of public speaking for a long time, and a lot of people just cannot believe it. I have social anxiety, so it's something that I actually didn't really realize until, you know, my pretty much mid-20s. I had been dealing my whole life with social anxiety and all the things that come with that, perfectionism and all of that. And so I remember at uni when I was doing my degrees, you know, just like trying to do the chat in front of the class, like your presentation in front of the class, and just absolutely shaking. I just could not get the words out. So I've had a public fear of speaking for a long time, and I kind of like Clubhouse. It was nervously just sitting in the rooms waiting for my turn to speak, and then being kind of egged on by the rest of the people there to speak. And it was a way, you know, you were hidden, you were speaking, but you weren't having to show your face. And I really started getting my confidence. And then people started asking me to be in rooms and and do rooms with them, and to be their expert in their room. And I was just like, wow, like I have this knowledge. I started really realizing that I had, you know, knowledge that people wanted to hear, or things that people wanted to hear. And Suze Chadwick gave me my very, very first podcast. And she was really pivotal in telling me, like, you need to practice this. Like the fear is not going to go away without, you know, without practicing it. And so that I decided, okay, I'm going to do at least 5 podcasts or masterclass this year. And that was last year. And so I think I did a lot more than that. I think I got up to about 10. I was on Kate Toon's Recipe for SEO Success podcast as well. So, and I started just the more I started doing it, the more I started getting asked to keep doing it. And I think this year I'm up to about 20 podcast episodes or masterclasses or speaking events. So it definitely is a practice. Not necessarily makes perfect, but practice makes better. And certainly, I still do feel a little nervous, but nowhere near. I'm not. I don't have that fear anymore. The fear is completely gone. I don't. Coming into this episode today, I didn't feel nervous. I just was excited, and I felt really, really good, and I feel good. So I think absolutely. The more you put yourself out there. And I think we forget we're so entrenched in our own craft or our own knowledge or our own skills that we don't realize that what we have to share is a lot. People the stuff we have to share, other people don't know. So as soon as you start speaking, people are like amazed. So I think just like leaning into knowing, or just getting comfortable with the fact that you do have knowledge to share is really important. So I'm very excited. In November, the end of November, I'm going to be in 2022 speaking at the Freedom Fest as a speaker there. So in a large room of women. So, and I was able to run my first SEO event
I saw
this
that.
year. So a lot of exciting stuff. And I really want to keep leaning into that because I love sharing my knowledge. So
it's so wonderful, and it's such a great way to grow your brand as well, to to grow brand awareness. So I'm nerding out about that part of it, but I think it's amazing what you've done, and really just to overcome that fear is such a huge thing, and I know will be very relatable to a lot of people. Something that I've really struggled with as well. Here I am with a podcast like crazy. I never would have thought that a couple of years ago, but here we are. And
I know, it's crazy.
All right, so let's get into some Pinterest stuff. What is Pinterest like as opposed to Facebook and Instagram? Because I feel like Facebook and Instagram are sort of like the go-to platforms for business when they first start out. Okay, I've got to start a Facebook page and an Instagram account. How does Pinterest work differently to those?
I feel like Pinterest is a really positive place. It's a place where people come to get inspiration for themselves. They're not going and scrolling for someone else. You are going in to Pinterest. You get results by typing in a word. Whereas, and there is a home feed, but it still is curated with things that you have shown interest with. And so when you go to Instagram or Facebook, you're just scrolling about other people's lives. You're not necessarily, you're mindlessly scrolling. You haven't really got an aim. Whereas on Pinterest, people are going with an aim. They're searching a topic, or they're looking at things that they've already searched for. And there is a, inspiration, there is an aim, there is a purpose behind their scrolling. So it's like a place for yourself. It's a place where you go just to be with you, rather than all these other people. It's also really, they're really strict in regards to spam, in regards to negative messages. And so in that way, I really feel it's quite positive as well. But at the core of it, it's a visual search engine. It's more like Google than it is like Instagram, even though it is very image focused. But it's driven by keywords. It's driven by SEO, much like Google is. And Instagram and TikTok are headed in that way. But really, Google and Pinterest are those, are the heroes, are the people who started this trend of search engines. And so I think for business, when I think back to the way I used it before I was in business, I used it to search for nail polish and hairstyles and wedding ideas and birthday party ideas and clothing and shoes, and even if I was looking for recipes. So it really does, it's a place that businesses can go to inspire their audience. And I think if you think of it as that way, rather than a place that you're going to be selling or getting people to buy products, you just really think of it as a place where people are coming to find you and engage with you and get to know you and then be inspired by your content. Then you are going to succeed on Pinterest.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how easy is it to get started on Pinterest? Because like it's a little bit of a different mindset then, and different, like it sounds like the content would be slightly different to how you present it on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. Because your images need to lead somewhere. Whereas on Instagram and Facebook, they're just on the platform. They don't go anywhere from there. I mean, you can have links in your Facebook caption or in your bio on Instagram, but on Pinterest, you're actually, when somebody clicks on the image, it goes to another place on your website or wherever else your content is held. And so you need to think of it that way. And I think if you, even before Pinterest, you know, even before any social media, just think about your content and your content plan. So I love the idea of having a piece of core content. So you start with, you know, it may be a podcast episode, it may be a blog, it may be a vlog if you don't like writing blogs, which I don't, and I outsource that. But you know, that is your core content, and then you break it down from there, and you can use that piece of core content for the whole month. You know, break it into little bits and pieces. And I've got a great repurposing guide on my website that people can download for free. But you know, it's pretty much you start with your blog or your piece of core content, and then you change it into, if you've got a podcast, you know, turn it into a blog. Then get a little snippet, like we're making this video right now, so you can grab some of this video and pop it up on any of the platforms. May grab a post for LinkedIn, a little snippet from LinkedIn, or a link to the blog. So you just use it across all of the platforms for the whole month. And I think having that as a strategy will remove some of that overwhelm of, what do I need to create? When do I need to create it? Well, what am I doing today? Oh, I need to get something up. What am I going to do? You know, just go back to that blog, right? What can I grab from this blog today? What can I mention from this blog today? Obviously, all intertwined with your personal, you know, your other content pillars, whether it's, you know, about you or about your business or whatever, your products. Having that piece of core content. If you're an e-commerce business, you know, a lot of people say, why do I need a blog? What would I do with a blog? Well, then look at shopping guides, look at quizzes, look at other, you know, highlighting some of your products, highlighting some of your, the people you collaborate with even as well. If you sell shoes, looking at how to care for shoes, how to store shoes. So there are lots of options when you really step back from your business, again, and look at what it is that people come to you for, or what kind of problems would they have surrounding your product, you know, whether it be aftercare, whether it's how to buy it, where to buy it, all that sort of stuff. So I think getting started on Pinterest is really about having your content plan in place and having some content to get onto the platform.
And I love that idea of because it can be like quite a block to think of, what am I going to share about my business? Why do people care about me on social media? Like, it's easy for us to fall into that mindset, but I love that idea of stepping back and thinking as a consumer and thinking, like, what do I search for on Pinterest, or what would I want to know about this type of business? Or, you know, even just in a past version of yourself, what had you searched for, or what would you wanted to know at that time when you were experiencing some kind of, you know, conflict or issue, or, you know, anything, you know, like you mentioned, planning a wedding. So I love that idea as well.
And I think surveying your audience is something that's really underpurposed.
Yes.
You know, as simple as just asking some questions on your Instagram stories. Just have, you know, what is it that you want to know about my nappy bag or the nappy bag I sell? what questions would you like to ask me, or have you got any questions about the products I sell? And or do you have any questions about delivery? Just ask some open-ended questions on your stories. Have a look in groups, ask some questions in the community. I always say to my clients, particularly I'm doing the SEO after party at the moment, which is a guided coaching program.
Oh, cool.
I said, like, go and speak to your audience and say, ask in the groups, if you were looking for a videographer in Adelaide, what would you search in Google? And boom, there are some of your keywords.
Exactly.
So, just surveying your audience has huge power.
Yeah. 100% gold nuggets.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So just in starting to wrap up, what's your best tip to succeed on Pinterest as a business owner?
I would say consistency. So, don't lean into the platform and post, all of your content in 1 month and then go, nothing's happening, and give up and walk away. If you can only keep up with posting 3 times a week, then do that. Whatever you can keep up with scheduling and getting content out and putting onto the platform, just stay consistent with it. And Pinterest rewards quality and consistency. And if you are getting quality content out there that inspires your audience, then you will be rewarded. You will succeed.
And how long would you expect? Because I know that Pinterest has got different times,
different algorithms.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So the algorithm obviously is very different, and we don't have all the answers, and it's kind of like asking how long is a piece of string. But we sort of say, like, put a good sort of 3 to 6 months effort into it, and even longer, because the thing is that one piece of content can deliver for years. So if you get the right piece of content out onto the platform, unlike Instagram, where content lasts about 30 hours, Pinterest content is lasting for years. And so if you get a piece of Easter content out there that people pick up every single year at Easter, that content will pick up again, and you'll start driving clicks through. So I think 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months is a really reasonable time. So, but you may be surprised, and something may happen within a month or even within days if you really post a piece of viral content. There are people on there posting videos and idea pins about how to fold underwear and having success. So just think of that.
There you go. Get out your undies, everyone. All right. I don't have any other questions, and I can't believe we're ending on that note, but I've got some rapid fire questions, which is kind of fun. So I'm going to say, what's your favorite, and then say a word, and you just say whatever comes to mind. You ready?
Yep, sure.
What's your favorite app?
Ooh, Pinterest, surely.
Did I need to ask? All right, time of day.
Or late at night.
Ooh, a night owl.
Yes, I am.
Okay, favorite type of exercise?
I like a walk on the beach.
Me too. Okay, habit?
I love soap operas. I'm so bad. I love Home and Away, and I miss Neighbours so much.
Oh, I miss Neighbours from years ago. I haven't watched it for many years, but I was addicted there for a little while. Okay, favorite way to relax?
Look, I love a glass of red wine, just sitting with the family or with hubby at the end of the day in the lounge room, just relaxing.
So nice.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite thing about your business?
I love the flexibility and the diversity of it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Simone. I've just absolutely loved chatting with you, and so many things that we covered today. So where can our audience find you?
Yeah, so you can visit me on my website, which is simonepavils.com. You can come and see me on Instagram. My handle is Simone Pavils. On Facebook, it is Simone Pavils Business, and on Pinterest, it is Simone Pavils. So that's the
Awesome.
beauty of having my own name as my business
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, highly recommend going and stalking Simone because she's so generous with her time and her knowledge, and you'll love her. If you don't already follow her, go and get to know her. Thanks again, Simone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this week's episode of Brand Lover, take a screenshot of wherever you're listening and share your biggest takeaway on Instagram or Facebook, and don't forget to tag me. I'd love to give you a shout out and thank you personally. Also, feel free to subscribe and leave a review to help the Brand Lover podcast reach more heart-aligned entrepreneurs just like yourself. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.